What is regret and how does it affect our manifesting ability? That's exactly what we're talking about on this episode. You're listening to Aryana Rollins, and this is Mindful Manifesting. I just love when a new idea comes through me as I'm prepping to do the podcast. And so this is brand new, and I'm excited to share it with you because it's about becoming younger through releasing our regrets. All right, before we jump in, if you would like to kickstart your manifesting journey, you can get a free workbook and guided meditation on highertrueself.com. All right. So last week I was watching a movie and it was called Forever Young. And I was really impressed with the acting. It was a British movie, and sometimes storylines just really grab me, and I think, oh, that's brilliant, well done. Okay, so it was this elderly woman, and she's living in this grand property in England, out in the country, and she's married to her husband of 40 years and love of her life. Well, she goes to the front door, opens it, and there's this man, his back facing the door. He's got this, really dapper dude hat on, and she doesn't recognize him. He turns around, and she's kind of like curious, and then she starts to recognize that she knew this person, but this person is now like in their 20s or 30 years old, and she knew him to be, 75 years old. So movie goes on to be, and I do recommend it. It is very good, because of the power of change and what can happen in our life. And so movie goes on, where he had discovered this serum that reversed time. And so that's how the movie unfolds. All right. So most of us don't have the ability to take a serum to reverse time and reverse our aging or time travel. And I think some of us would like to maybe unwind the consequences of our decisions. But we know that's not possible. Time travel, maybe it is, And there's a part of us that as we mature and we go through life, we accumulate some regret, some disappointment that things didn't turn out the way we wanted them to. Maybe disappointment in our decisions. So let's talk about what is regret. According to the dictionary, regret is feeling sad, disappointed, and maybe being hard on ourselves. Not quite that, but we can, right? When we've missed out on something. Now, how does the unconscious mind see regret? That's one of the things I'm fascinated with, is how to create that harmony between our conscious desires, what we want to manifest, and getting our body, the storehouse of our unconscious mind, to align, to help us. So how does the unconscious mind process regret? Well, our thoughts, the constant thinking, I wish I didn't. Oh, I wish I didn't do that. Or I wish I did do that. And it's like this in the image I saw as I was prepping for this podcast. It's like the old-fashioned record players. And the record is on the player and it's playing this beautiful music. And when the regret thought or feeling comes up, it screeches, the record stops, skips a beat, and goes back to the beginning of the song. So in essence, we stop ourselves. We stop ourselves from moving forward. We stop ourselves from making decisions that could be similar to the decision that we are now experiencing regret. Are you starting to see this can go anywhere? Think about relationships. How people, as they get older, they're less willing to risk their heart. They're less willing to put themselves out there on a dating app or go out to meet new people. They're in their habits and their routines. And watching a movie can be as satisfying, quotes around that, as actually having real connections with friends, loved ones, and maybe a new intimate partner. So it's like that screech. So the record skips a beat. And we're now back at the beginning of the song. And we never really get to play out fully our life. So in essence, we stop ourselves from moving forward in that area of our life. We take ourselves out of the present moment. And I really like this, thinking about manifesting is where our power exists, is in the moment, right now, right here, where we have that power of choice. It's where we can change ourselves. It's where we can change our lives in the present moment. So, how to handle the big regrets? The ones that only in our perception, time travel would unravel. Like in this movie, Forever Young. This woman's biggest regret and why she agreed to take the serum from her previous boyfriend is her biggest regret is that she didn't have a baby with her husband of 40 years. This was the love of her life. And that regret ate at her. It just really, when she got into a little bit of a down moment, that's that first thing. It's like, oh, that's why I'm feeling sad. That's why I'm feeling disappointed, because I didn't have a baby. I didn't have a baby. So whether it's true or not that was making her sad, that became a powerful leading story that influenced her today. So how does regret affect manifesting? Well, if regret stops our forward momentum, then we are stuck in a limiting loop. We're stuck in a limiting loop. We are on repeat, trying to make sense of, well, what would have happened if I made a different choice? And we can't, at least at that level of consciousness, fix things. We can't fix things in the past. We can only fix things in the present moment, which will change our future, change how our life unfolds, channel our manifesting energy, which is the power of change, power of our thought, power of our emotions. So what can we do to move forward? Well, as I was prepping for this podcast, and I knew I wanted to speak about that movie because it's like one of those movies that really has a significant impact on me. And I've always been fascinated with regret because I've observed some people who age and they feel ageless. I remember there was a woman when I went to the Dr. Joe Dispenza retreat last year in Nashville, and I signed up to be a study participant so they could test me to see the effects of a week-long meditation retreat. And there were a bunch of people offering, either they were doing a blood test or they were going to have EKG on their brain, or they were going to do fecal samples because they're measuring the gut biomes, which are a huge measure of health and well-being and youthfulness, it turns out. So as I'm standing in this long line, there's this woman who was walking with a cane, and she was older than me. She had the brightest smile, the brightest spirit. And as we'd done our paperwork and got everything signed up, we started to walk down the hallway together. And I said, what happened? And she told me this story as so matter of fact. There was no victimhood in there. There was no regret, no disappointment. She was so deeply in the present moment, so full of light. And I said, wow, I honor your courage. I'm just in awe of how you handled this. So then there are some people, that's a good, bright example. Then there are some people, it's like they have this linus, dark black cloud around them, and nothing satisfies them. Nothing serves them. They've got bitterness. They've got this expectancy that life should be helping them, delivering what they want in life. I mean, it's the absolute opposite of that other woman. So, here's something that came to me as I was wanting to record this episode for you all. And it became into this like 3 or 4 step process. So cool. So cool. I'm really excited to do this for myself, but you're getting it first before I've even tried it. So first, write down your big 3 regrets, your top 3 regrets, those ones that kind of filter in your thoughts or feelings. They take you out of the present moment. They drag you down. One of mine, and I'm going to definitely do it on this, I'm going to do this process on this, is not having more children. But it's small because fortunately life had a way of guiding me to have a child, and I had not planned on having children. So I'm deeply grateful that I had a child. But I'm going to write down 3 top regrets. Second step, write down why you feel that regret. Why? Maybe it comes to mind is how your life would be different now if you had more children. For me, I would say that I would have company. I'd have more company. I would be able to enjoy family more, because I think what happens, especially if you get divorced, your family gets small. You don't have the family from your partner, your husband, or your wife. And if you have no children, your family gets small. And then maybe it's just, your siblings or your mother or father, and then your mother and father pass. Maybe sibling relationships aren't so great. So for me, it would be family. And there's no guarantee you're going to have a great relationship with your child, but I happen to have, so I'm deeply blessed. So first, write down your top 3 regrets. 2, second step, write down why you feel regret and how would your life be different now. So for me, my assumption is I'd have more family. Third, play the movie out in your mind. In essence, live it out. Oh, more family. What would that feel like? Oh, we'd have family gatherings, Christmas, Thanksgiving. We'd be able to travel together, do shopping things. So feel the feelings and imagine the consequences. How would my life change now? And really imagine you can live it out. And here's the thing that's so profound that I'm going to share right now. That is what makes our ability to change our life today, no matter how old we are, is, I don't even like these terms. They're becoming so diluted. But neuroplasticity, what Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about, is that your unconscious mind has no concept whether something is made up, something's imaginary, or that it truly happened to you. That's why we can get so engaged in a movie theater. The lights are turned down, the speakers are up, and we're actively watching this movie, and maybe we even notice our heart race as the hero runs from the bad guy. We get engaged. Well, we know consciously this is all made up. Somebody wrote the story, there's actors, right? There's the movie director, there's the script, there's the stage scenes and all that. We know this, but still, our unconscious mind gets engaged, and we thoroughly enjoy it. But what if you were able to do that with your regret? So that's step 3. Create like a little mind movie of you making a different choice, not having that regret. Actually, for me, having more children. Okay. So 4, reflect on your feelings as you observe this little mind movie. And it's okay if you don't imagine things. I rarely see things in my mind. It's more an awareness. I often get the most from writing down the movie scene. So however it works for you. Okay. So reflect on your feelings as you live this mind movie out. As you're doing this, start to pay attention to any thoughts that might come up, like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. So let's say for me, if I'd had 3 children, And that, wow, I became a single mom. Oof, could I have done it with 3 children? Could I have stayed on my spiritual path and provided for 3 children? So I noticed my energy drop. Not likely, not likely. And my spiritual development, spiritual path, God is all in everything. So that's an awareness. Wow, did it all work out okay? Is that where I should have been? Is that the decision I should have made? Is it all perfect? So as you live out this mind movie, or you read out what you wrote, start to be aware, are there signs that you made the right choice? Life unfolded as designed, as you consciously designed. Can you come to peace with your past? Can you come to peace and not have those regrets? So I'm not implying this is a quick one and done process. You might want to do this exercise several times and live out multiple versions of your life so you can come to peacefulness, so you can move on. And of course, if you'd like to support to do this, if you'd like support, we can work together on it. So I believe regret is what ages people. It is what makes us bittered and withered. Maybe you've seen someone who is full of life and they've got bright lights, like that woman that I met who had some health issues, serious health issues going on. But she did not let that hold her back. She didn't become bitter. She didn't have regret. But maybe you've met someone who's full of upset about how their life went. It can even turn the person to blame someone or something. If only, oh my gosh, that's a big one. If only, isn't it the start of the story of regret? And before they know it, they've become a victim of circumstances. Maybe we've done it. Before we know it, we've got that if only story going on, and we've become a victim of circumstances. But truly, my friends, we're not a victim of circumstances. We are a victim of our unconscious mind. We are a victim of our unconscious mind, which means we can change that. We can change that victimhood. We can change our perceptions. We can take regret and we can transform it into our growth. Wouldn't that be amazing? Into loving our life and being the person we want to be as we grow through life and as we mature and as we age. So truly, we're a victim of our unconscious mind, and that gives us such hope, because it's exactly what I love teaching, is how to consciously being the master of your unconscious mind, to be the conscious master of your body. So let's recap how to release regret process. Oh, I've just named it. Love naming things. First, write down your big 3 regrets. And I just walked you through one. Go ahead and do it. And I would suggest picking the least powerful regret and do this process first on that until it's gone, then the second most powerful, and the third most powerful. Okay, so 1, write down your top big 3 regrets in your life. 2, write down why you feel regret, as in how your life would be different now. 3, play the movie out in your mind. Live it out. Feel the feelings. Think the thoughts. And 4, as you're doing that, reflect on anything that starts to shift. Pay attention to feelings and thoughts and make note of those, because that's the sign, my friends, that you're releasing the regret and you're coming into the present moment. Oh, I thoroughly enjoyed this episode, and I can't wait to dig in deeper on my top 3 regrets so I can be more deeply in the present moment and be forever young at heart and mind and spirit. Yeah, our body ages. You know, that's kind of like we don't have a charge of that, just like we didn't have charge of going through puberty. Or as females, you don't have charge or choice of going through when your cycle stops. Our body is not us. And we know that. All right, as we wrap up, if you enjoyed this episode, please pass it along to a friend or maybe give a review wherever you listen to the podcast for Mindful Manifesting. Thanks so much for your time. I really, really appreciate you listening. And so much love. And lastly, as we confirm ourselves, we chart our own path to success. So much love. Bye-bye.